So look, I just got back from Hawaii, and we did something that
it looked like you guys had a huge turnout for that thing.
We did. I was actually
too many.
No, well, we had, we actually capped it at 250. So they, we put the we put the poster up while we were in Italy on a Thursday night. And by Friday morning, we had over 100-something people sign up. And so the time change, though, had made it. It was like we posted it at like 2 or 3 in the morning here in the States. And so by the morning, there was like already 100. And so Rich and I looked at each other like, look, we're going to have to do this in groups if we're going to get, we kept getting more and more. So within 2.5 days, we had 250. So we were like, look, we're going to have to cap this off because this is our first one. We didn't want it to run shitty. We didn't want people walking out of there going like that was a joke. We put these guys through the gauntlet this weekend, and I got to tell you, and you and I were talking off before we even got on the started recording, but there was all walks of life on that. We had the men, we had the women, but we had big guys, small guys, big girls, smaller girls. You know what I mean? Like it was impressive to see, and also there was a couple diamonds in the rough that we were like, wow, you guys are good. Where are you guys from? No, we were just like, we knew, and when you're on an island, right? Everyone talks. The buzz there, the ones that are good. But we had people that flew in. Some flew in from Guam. A couple, I want to say 1 or 2 flew in from the Philippines. We had one from Australia. Like we had some that came in just like, hey, this is my chance, my opportunity. And we even had one that came from the mainland. So it was kind of like, wow, this is the first one. And people were really dedicated to making sure that they were trying to get out there to be in front of us. And it was impressive. And I think the way that they were able to put it together there and the support mechanisms that we had there, with Rich Chow being from kind of, being always a part of the Hawaiian culture.
The Hawaiian MMA scene, no doubt about it.
The Hawaiian MMA scene for sure. He's been around that, that scene for the longest time. But it was really fascinating. We had 2 guys, I would say, that were in the 300 plus pounds, and we had people that were as small as like 118, 115, 118, 120. So it was good. I was very impressed.
Good talent.
There was a lot of good talent. We had already, like Rich had said, look, I kind of already have a good idea of like people. There's the buzz on the island about these fighters, and so he kind of knew who was who already. But then we had a couple. I would say there was three or four that were not from there, but they had been training there, and the buzz hadn't quite got to everybody yet. And so when they started training, when we got to the grappling section of it all, you could tell how BJ Penn and Ali Malay and their grappling presence has had such an effect on what people from the islands are learning. So sure, they've been known to be boxers and heavy hitters and those kind of things, but man, their jiu-jitsu skills, a lot of them were very much on point. I was impressed. I was very impressed. And what I was thoroughly impressed by was we had a guy, he said he was 380, so he probably was 420. But we had we had a couple guys, big.
Oh, he's my weight class.
Big, yeah, pretty close, yeah. But he wasn't 75. So but we had guys that it was a 2.5 hour long workout, and not once did they like go to the bathroom to throw up, or did they say like, hey, can we stop? Can I get a water break? No one did that. And I was impressed because there was moments in the grappling section. Sure, they looked tired. They looked exhausted. And for a guy who's, let's just say 380, that's a lot of weight you're moving around. Plus another guy
that's a lot.
Who's, let's just say he's 300 or we had some guys that were, 320. We had some guys that were 270, 285, and they're all grappling together for a good 30 minutes straight. And we were doing like a rotate train kind of scenario situation. So you were getting a fresh guy every 30 seconds to a minute. Sometimes the matches went a minute, like sometimes they went like 15 minutes, 18 minutes. And then the guy who lost and the guy who won both had to come back in right away with somebody else. I matched them up, and it was like, wow, they never complained. Not one of them, from the guys to the girls, none of them complained.
But they went away going, that fucking Josh Thomson tried to kill us.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Because honestly, like for me, I always felt, and I've said this before, conditioning to me is the main factor when I'm looking at an athlete. When I'm looking at somebody is, hey, did you come in shape? That's one. 2 is, if you can't get yourself to do cardio, you're never going to be the best. If you can't come in and you can't perform and if you can't get yourself in shape, I can't rely on you to end up eventually being a world champion, because that's what's going to take. If you can't get past that mental barrier of, okay, I got to go run tonight, even though I'm tired, I still have to go run. That's the type of shit that makes champions. Not like, oh, I'm gonna hit more mitts, or I'm gonna shadow box more, or I'm gonna kick the bat. I'm gonna do all the cool shit, the fun shit, the sparring. That stuff, sure, it's great, but if you're not in shape, it doesn't mean anything, especially when you're talking about a 5-round fight for a title. Those are the things that I looked at, and when I saw all of those athletes there, not one of them, they all looked exhausted, but they all still put on great performances. And I gotta tell you, the Hawaiians came out and they did an amazing job. I was impressed.
It's always good to hear, because one of the things you try to tell young fighters all the time is, hey, if you want this to be your job, then make it your job. That means that you're in the gym, you're always in shape, you're always ready to go. If someone calls last minute looking for a fighter, and that's the fight that's going to get you to the next level, and you're prepared for it, take it, because you know you're in shape. You don't have to worry. It's when you're not in shape that you go into a fight going, I got to end this fast. If I don't end this fast, I'm in trouble. And then you're already fighting an uphill battle. So it's good to hear that those guys are in shape, man, because that's not easy. Nope. When you're a big guy, you're rolling a lot. You're moving a lot of weight. It takes a lot of energy. You're burning it.
Yeah, I had some friends that hit me up like a week before, and they're like, hey, man, I didn't realize signups would be cut off. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, and they're like, could you still get me? Is there a way I can still get in? And I'm talking about these, they're not super close with me, but I've seen them, but they played, in like they were drafted in like, for football, high level football, they were drafted in the NFL in the first round. And then they were like, yeah, I want to come out to the tryouts. I've been training. I have 2 amateur fights. I'm 2-0, 2 finished. I'm like, all right, cool. I was like, you know what? Let me see what I can do. Pulled some strings. Like, sure. Calls me back. He's like, hey, bro, can I, he's like, you guys have gloves there? He's like, I don't have any gloves. And I'm like, son, I just told him, I said, hey, I just got you a tryout for the Yankees. I'm like, and you don't have cleats. Figure it out. I was like, figure it out.
There you go.
I mean, you can't make people want to do it, and that's the thing. So when you're talking in that type of scenario and those situations, you gotta want to do it. People can only lead you there so much, and if you can't do the rest, then I'm sorry, man. Like, So I mean, he still came out. He was able to find and figure it all out, but he still needs a lot of work, and I mean, that's the process, though. This is the process of what needs to be. I really enjoyed what we're doing, and these were good things. These were eye-opening experiences, I think, for myself, Rich Chow, and all the ones that were there, Bellator evaluating the talent.
That's awesome. Because it's good to hear, and I think it's something that needs to be done in a lot of different places. Not so much maybe the mainland here, but Hawaii, that's great. I think going into places, England, Ireland, all of those.
Yeah.
We obviously have people in place to look at talent, but it's always good to put on those open workouts, because you'll always find that one guy. You watch him and you just know, this guy's got something special.
Yeah, you think about that, right? You think about that movie Invincible when Dick Vermeil had the tryouts for the Eagles, and and he found what's his name, Vince Papali, and you just think about, like, there's that one guy who, like, sure, he played ball a little bit in high school. Still kind of trains, never really dedicated too much time because he had bills, or he ended up having a daughter or a son, right out of high school, whatever the situation was. But they were always good athletes, and they were good people, and they trained hard, and they loved it, but just life caught them, threw them a curveball, and they couldn't get to that next level. And I was using that same scenario when I was talking to ESPN Honolulu, and I was telling them, I said, hey, like, we're here because you never know the person that is like training at a gym that has all that. Let's say you train at Max Holloway's gym or Alimalay's gym, and you're training there and you're lost in the shuffle because all the media and the press goes to the more talented fighters, right? And the coaches, of course, lean that way as well, because that's where their bread is. That's where their bread's buttered.
It's where they're gonna make more money
exactly. So the other ones, they kind of get like, just scraped over and left behind and just kind of forgotten. And so when they came out and we see these young talented guys, we're like, all right, you guys, some of you guys shouldn't even been here. We should have probably signed you guys, a year or two ago. That's how talented some of them were. Like, wow, this is impressive. Like, especially when I was watching them, the transitions from the stand up to the ground, I was impressed. And I think it's going to open the doors for more of these to come. and we'll see where and what cities we're going to hit, what countries we're going to hit. I think that without a doubt, and this is something though too that everyone talking about the Ultimate Fighter, but this is beyond that Ultimate Fighter situation. This is we're really coming into your backyard, and it's open to everyone. When the Ultimate Fighter does it, they do it in Vegas, and you got to come to them. What happens if you can't afford it? What happens if you can't make the trip? What happens if you can't? Go ahead. You look like.
Well, it's also what a lot of people don't understand, and it's not. I understand why. I'm not saying anything bad about it. But the Ultimate Fighter is also about what they call personality. Mm-hmm. And they'll take a guy that's a great fighter, and if he doesn't have the personality that they're looking for, he don't make it.
Yeah. He
doesn't make it on that show. And it's unfortunate. I've known quite a few guys that have been in that position. They're good fighters, and they just, they don't talk smack. They don't act like, a fool at times. It's just not who they are. And they're very quiet. And because they're quiet, they don't make the cut.
Yeah.
And I sat down with certain guys. And I said, look, I know this isn't you. You have got to be outlandish. You got to be outspoken. You got to be bold, right? He goes, okay.
Yeah.
He goes there and he doesn't do any of it, and he doesn't make it. And I go, what did I tell you? Right? He goes, I just can't do that. Right? Okay, it's all right, man.